again. It is Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit. Talking sprint car racing, our favorite time of the week. We are so glad that you have joined us. I'm Steve Post. I'm in the Hercules Tire Studios, and joining us from the Lethal Chassis Studios up in Pennsylvania is Ashley Stremme. Hello, Ashley. How are you?
I am fabulous. How about yourself, Steve?
I'm fantastic. I actually saw some sprint car racing this weekend, even though I was in Michigan for the NASCAR stuff. Had a really, really good weekend. Got a little sprint cars in me, and all is well. You know, we're past the Knoxville hangover now. Now we're starting to look forward to Pennsylvania Money Week or Money Month and all of the other stuff. So I think we're going to survive it all.
Yeah, well, we have to survive at this point, I think. But it's so true. Pennsylvania's coming up. I can't wait because I live now, so it's going to be an awesome few weeks for sure. Even on the late model side of things, Lucas Oil's coming to town. The modifieds get to race. We actually stood in Victory Lane this past weekend at Heston. So it was a good weekend altogether.
I saw that Victory Lane picture. That looked good. The old Stremme can still do it, can he?
Yeah, he still gets it done now and then.
That's awesome. That is really cool. Yeah, one of our ops guy, Frank Beers, is headed up, and he's just setting up shop. He literally setting up shop for like the next 3 weeks in Pennsylvania. I'm like, you dirty dog. You, man, I'll tell you what, you know how to just twist it right in there. That's for sure. So
best week of the year, Fair Week.
I know,
right
Fair
up.
Week and Fair Food. It's going to be big. That's for sure. Hey, speaking of big and speaking of great things, Donny Schatz, he is our guest here today on Wing Nation. Before we get to that, let's take a look at racing from I-96 Speedway up in Michigan. It's the Flow Racing All-Star Circuit of Champions. Ian Madsen, Tyler Courtney, and Corey Eliason with the battle, and one of our favorites, Wade Onger with the call on Flow Racing.
And now for the Dryden death-defying move of the week, where one driver simply amazes us with their on-track moves.
Watching Eliason up on the lap car again, and now comes Tyler Courtney. Tyler closing in as well. We got a three-way battle, and Eliason is your leader.
That death-defying move was brought to you by Dryden Diesel All Def, the official def of the World of Outlaws and wheelmen everywhere. Visit Dryden.com for more information.
Pride. Passion.
Performance.
We are.
We are.
We are Team Dryden.
Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit, continues on, and we're going to the Hercules Tire Hotline via Zoom call. One of the more recent winners on the World of Outlaw and Austin Energy Drink Sprint Cars picked up the win Saturday night. Donny Schatz is on the line. Hello, Donny. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Well, Donny, I would say just what I'm seeing, it looks like your performance over the last few weeks back to Knoxville and this past weekend up near your home turf, seems like you guys have got that 15 car running pretty well.
Yeah, we've made a lot of headway with what we needed to be able to, pass cars and be in contention at the end of the race. Obviously, Knoxville was a great week, and the guys been digging. So, yeah, the performance has been there. We got a win Saturday on home turf, which was pretty huge, and, we had a pretty solid night at Sioux Falls. Normally, we don't run as well there as we'd like, but, yeah, things have been looking really good. So it makes racing a lot more fun at the moment.
Donny, you made the comment in Victory Lane that you were probably going to sleep with the trophy. Is that because these wins are so hard to come by because the competition is so strong? Or is it because it's from your hometown? These people have watched you growing up racing as a kid. What really was the momentum behind that?
Well, I've only won 2 races this year, and one of them was number 300, and 301 came on home turf. So both wins have been, very big. I mean, these races, what it means to win them hasn't changed. It's always meant a lot to me. Being able to do it at home and have a milestone victory is huge. I think there's been things that have gone on in the sport that kind of took direction away from having multiple winners in that, and it does feel good to get back to victory lane. So, you can only have emotions for what's right in front of you at the time, and It was 6 or 7 weeks, or maybe even 8 weeks between the last time I won a race. So I think when the wins don't come as often as you want, you end up feeling like that, where the emotions kind of get the best of you. And hopefully, we're on that path to where they come a little more often, a little more consistently.
It was your sixth win at Red River Valley, your home track up there in Fargo, North Dakota. Your sixth World of Outlaw win there. Donnie, when you go to a lot of places, we go everywhere from anybody but Schatz. We've been through that phase where the crowd is 50-50. That has to be really, really neat, where the crowd is the crowd is all kind of in as far as your corner goes when you climb atop that wing.
Well, it's pretty neat to see. Even Knoxville this year was quite a change. There's been a lot of booze over the years, and I warned a few people that were first timers at the Nationals, like, get ready for this, and I didn't even hardly hear anything that was in a negative light. So, it's crazy to see how it's changed, and really the only thing that's changed is just not winning as much. So, yeah, when you get home, it was pretty incredible. Not even, when the race was over, to see that the people were still in their seats 15 minutes after the race was over, to listen to what was said on the PA. And it kind of shows you where, obviously growing up around here, I have 25 years in the sport. Red River Valley Speedway has been a lot of my career growing up, and still to this day, even have a part of changing the racing track. So it was neat to see, and it makes you feel like maybe you've been doing something right for the last 25 years. So it's pretty humbling.
I'd say that's easily the truth. Speaking of Knoxville, your stats for the Knoxville Nationals are absolutely insane. Obviously, 10 wins, but I think your median finish is second. What is it about that place that is just so special to you, and you're able to get around that place in such ease?
Well, things really started to go well for me there in 2000. Going there with Kenny Woodruff, had a very good reputation of getting a car to go around there fast. And Kenny and I never got to win the race, but I think it was at the point in my career when I really realized that I was going to have to start paying attention to people like Kenny, and use some of their knowledge and what they taught me to be able to succeed at big races, because I hadn't won very many big races. And probably one of my worst tracks that I ever went to was Williams Grove, and Kenny and I went there and won the National Open, which was huge, a place I didn't like. And so it kind of brought to light, I needed to start paying a little more attention, and I did. And you got to realize that once you get on the racetrack, there's not much you can do to change it. You just have to change yourself to be able to adapt to what's there. And just always had a liking to Knoxville for some reason, the way the surface was, and watched a lot of great guys go around there. So I've been able to pick up on some of those things, and learn them along the way from making mistakes. I think running second at the Nationals several times was something that was ultimately what made all the success. You knew what not to do. You knew what the emotions were like leading and not winning the race, and running second. And you look back on it now, and seconds. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of guys that would say they'd love to have that, and I'm not denying that. If I couldn't win the race, I want to run second. But ultimately, you want to win, and some days you just can't. So you have to adapt to that and deal with it.
23 national start, 18 top two finishes. So 10 wins, 8 second place finishes. Donnie, you talk about Kenny Woodruff and some of the greats of the sport. At Knoxville, they and I don't know if they do this all the time, but they did a photo with all of you winners that have won this race. And we had Ron Schumann on our show a couple weeks ago. You're out there with Steve, with Sammy, and just so many icons. Is that a moment that is just part of the routine of the day, or do you kind of sit back and take in who you're with there on that special stage?
It was kind of it was pretty neat to see. Glad to see them put that together. But standing there with Steve, I was sitting to myself thinking, what's he thinking? Is he standing here going, "Hey, I've won more nationals than you, and I've won more nationals than you"? I didn't know if that's what it was like. I mean, that's never what goes through your mind, but I was wondering what he was thinking. And Steve's pretty. He knows what he's done, and he should be dang proud of all that. No one's ever gonna get to that point, but it was kind of fun to talk to him, and I just wanted to ask him and kind of perk him a little bit, because when you have that competitive fire in you like he's had and I've had, it never goes away. Whether you're retired or you're sitting at home, you're always competitive. So even in that moment, you could feel a little bit of the, I know he was probably wishing he was still out racing, but it was neat to see. And and you kind of wonder, how do them other guys look at you? How do they perceive you in this situation? It's like I said earlier, it's a very humbling experience. So it's very unique and neat to be in it, and just glad to be in that group of guys.
Yeah, as you should be. Really fun stuff for sure. Hey, hang in there, everyone. Donnie, stick around. We're going to have more with Donny Schatz here on Wing Nation.
Hey, Ashley, what are you up to?
Oh, I just stopped by to grab some sage fruit apples. Now I just have to decide which ones.
You can never go wrong with a Honey Crisp. They're light, crisp, and full of perfectly balanced flavor.
Oh, hey.
You could always go with one of their classics, the Gala or Fuji. They're both sweet and juicy. Grown in the heart of Eastern Washington, Sage Fruit Company works hard on the farm and with their retail partners to provide high-quality apples and pears to consumers all year long.
Well, I couldn't decide which ones. Thanks for the help, guys.
I'll race you to checkout.
Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit, continues on. Donny Schatz is our guest, the 10-time winner of the Knoxville Nationals, 10-time champion for the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. And Donny, I want to go a little off track. I love kids, okay, and have some kids. You have some nieces, and kids, the tendency of kids is to jump from one thing to the other, to the other, to the other, okay? You have two nieces, and 3 or 4 years ago, we talked to you about their go-karting. I don't think those nieces are jumping to anything else. It looks to me like you're going to have some racing nieces as you go forward, and they're doing pretty well with that.
I've tried to get them to go another direction. I know what's behind what it takes to get to this level, and I think sometimes kids see the glamour, but they don't see the hard work, and they don't see the blood and the sweat that goes along with it. And my nieces are pretty fortunate to have my father that's kind of groomed them the way he did me and make them understand, hey, you need to work on it. And they're very good kids. They don't get in trouble, and they enjoy working on it. They enjoy traveling with with Zach in the truck. But you got to have, you always got to be surrounded by great people. And we're very fortunate that Zach Axlin, was able to take them racing to some events. And even this weekend, we were racing. They couldn't race in Fargo this weekend because they were at a event at Cedar Lake, and I think Amelia won 5 of the 6 events. So it's neat to see, but it's time. They're at the age where they're ready for something different, and one of them wants to go late model racing, one of them wants to go sprint car racing. So right now we're in the process of trying to assemble a sprint car. I don't have any sprint car stuff left, but I have a lot of late model stuff left, so that makes it fairly simple. And we're going to get them some laps this fall, and then we're going to get them going in that and see where it goes. It's not that they're going to be doing it on a regular basis. It's very hard to keep up. And ultimately, if I want to keep them safe too, where you don't want to send them to the racetrack where not everything's 100%. And obviously, what I do, I can't be there every day or every time they're there. So you want to make sure everything's kind of organized in that. But yeah, it's pretty neat to see. I get asked a lot why I'm not late model racing. Well, that's why, because there's just not enough, there's not enough hours in the day, and there's not enough trucks and hands and people to make all these things happen when the kids go race. And sometimes I think I get more pride out of them going racing and enjoying it as much as I do in watching them. So we'll see what's ahead for them. But in the near future, they're definitely going to get to make some laps in a late model and a sprint car.
Donny, you talk about your dad and what he instilled in you, and now he's instilling in them. Obviously, your family, your sister Deanna, they're all so ingrained in this sport. You are obviously leaving a legacy as Donny Schatz and what you've done and the career that you've had, even though it's not even close to being over. But what's it mean to you? You say you get more enjoyment out of watching them. Is there a Uncle Donny moment that you pull them aside and walk them through things? Do you sit down and watch film with them? Is there things that you do personally to help them with their racing career when it comes to being on the track?
I haven't done a whole lot of that with them. My dad's done most of that. The times that I have been around, we've had some moments. Kids can be kids, and sometimes when kids do that, you have to be a parent or you have to be an uncle, and you have to put your foot down. And I've been there one night when I said, all right, if that's how you guys want to act, we're loading up and we're leaving. And we did. Those are the moments I think that make those kids appreciate, hey, we're not going to act like spoiled kids. We're not going to carry on because we didn't do this or we didn't do that. You just have to learn from your mistakes and go on. And I've been around for a few of those. I think I've been around more moments like that than I have the other way, because they do things away from what I do quite often. I mean, they enjoy going to the races. They enjoy getting to spend time with their grandparents, and they do learn from that. So I'm pretty proud of what they've done. It's hard for me to say what's right, especially when you got twins. There's no favorites, but you hope both of them do well. But at the end of the day, only one of them's going to be there, and the other one's going to have to settle for that. And we went through a little bit of that last weekend, and they're both great racers. So hopefully they stay humbled in that area and enjoy it along the way. That's the key thing is keep it enjoyable. I mean, I'm not saying I don't enjoy what I do, but there's days when it gets too political and there's too much of this and that, and you just hope that kids don't you don't get too swallowed up in it.
Your dad is one of my favorite people when I talk to him at the track, and sometimes it's a 10-second conversation or greeting, and other times we get to chat for 5 or 6 minutes. And I wonder, you say your dad is so, and I know he's so involved with your nieces. Is it the same Donny Schatz that was your father, or is he a little softer or a little different with the girls?
I've never seen him put a boot in any of their butts, kick them in the butt for something. I know, and I got that back in the day from him. He was, I have a story from Manzanita back in the day that I got out of the car and was given official a hard time because I started 11th and I got passed by a car that was in the B main before the race started. And the second time it happened, next thing you know, I was 3 foot in the air because I got a boot in the butt and told to get back in the car and worry about my job. So he's not, he knows what he needs to do, but it's a different day for that. Kids don't get disciplined the same way we did. They don't get the belt. They don't get spanked as much. So he's a little softer with them, but he also just makes sure that, they stick to their values, and pretty appreciative of that.
The pictures of the family, whether it's at Knoxville or at the races, and the smile on your dad's face and your mom and everyone is just so special. Donny, we appreciate the time. We always love talking sprint car racing, but we love talking the family stuff too. So we appreciate you joining us here on Wing Nation.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it, guys.
There we go. Donny Schatz joining us here on Wing Nation. Stay with us. Our Tweet Your Seat, Tweet of the Week, and a lap around the sprint car world are coming up next.
Power isn't born. It's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain. And we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
We're back. You're watching Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit, and it is time for the Tweet Your Seat Tweet of the Week. And I know we already talked about it earlier, but it's all Pennsylvania all the time the next few months. Derek tweeted this in. He said, Knoxville is in the rearview mirror. It's time for a busy 2 months of big shows in Pennsylvania, and he couldn't be more right. Obviously, he is in the best seat in the house, which is turn 4 in the pit grandstands. That's where the picture comes from. And speaking of Port Royal, Anthony Macri picked up his 4th win of the year after he picked up his first win at Williams Grove the night before.
That Williams Grove win had eluded him and was starting to get under a burr under the saddle, I think, but he knocked it off this past weekend, and yeah, he's been gold at the Speed Palace for sure. Hey, let's take a lap around the sprint car world. I mentioned in the top of the show, I got to some racing. Butler Motor Speedway is in Quincy, Michigan. They started racing there in 1950. I don't know how long they've been running 410s. As long as we've been doing Wing Nation, 410s are kind of one of their divisions that they run on Saturday nights. Neat little deal, kind of self-contained. Their racers kind of stay there. And just a fun time. And A.J. Aldrich picked up his career first win at Butler on Saturday night, Ashley.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool story because it's only his 2nd season as a sprint car driver. But like all of us, he's been going to Butler since he was 5 years old. His father was a racer, so I love seeing that tradition continue on.
Short track Saturday night. I love it. Really neat stuff. Hey, let's turn number 1. Let's go to turn number 2. Placerville Speedway, and we've seen this in the past, Ashley. One of the big news stories in our world these days are the fires out in California. The Calder fire is right out in El Dorado County, at the El Dorado County where Placerville is. Placerville has had to push pause on their season because the El Dorado County Fairgrounds is the fire camp headquarters for those fighting the fires.
Yeah, I hate to see this, but it's awesome that they're able to do something like this. For the short term, their season is currently on hold. Andy Forsberg is the 2021 360 champion. The fall season, well, that's all to be determined at this point, depending on the needs of the community and, of course, what ends up with the fires. But hopefully Saturday, September 18th, the World of Outlaws are scheduled.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll just have to see how that plays out. And our thoughts and prayers are with everybody out in California, those fighting the fires and those victims of the fires. Just terrible. And we've dealt with it in the sprint car community in the past. And we think about that every year. We seem to go through this. All right, off turn number 2, down the back straightaway we go. Into turn number 3, and turn 3 is the West Coast. It is the Sage Fruit Skagit Nationals coming up next weekend. World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. And they have a brand new big marquee event to kick off their West Coast swing.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Friday through Sunday, more than $200,000 are going to make up the purse. Friday and Saturday is $10,000 to win. Sunday is $25,000 to win. And Steve, I don't know about you, but it's awesome to see our friends at Sage Fruit back on front of the headlines in sprint car racing.
Yes, it is. And Steve Beitler, one of his farewell races out there as he turns the reins of the racetrack over to others. So neat stuff. That's turn number 3. Turn number 4. I got thinking about the win list. Who's winning races this year in the 410s, Ashley? Did a little searching around, and let's take a look at our top 5 winners this season. Brad Sweet, not a shocker. He has 15 wins. Second is David Gravel. Ashley, who's that guy in third spot? You ever heard of him?
No, some guy named Kyle Larson apparently runs NASCAR. I'm not real sure. But a Pennsylvania guy, Brent Marks, is right behind him with the 9, and then Sheldon Hanshield, Carson Macedo, Tyler Courtney, and Anthony Macri all round out with 8 wins.
Great stuff. A lot of big winners. We're going to have a few of those guys are going to make it into double digits. The 9 and 8 and 9 winners will make it to double digits. It's going to be a good season as we roll through the final few months. Been a great time taking you on a lap around the sprint car world. Stay with us. More Wing Nation is coming up.
I'm not ready yet. Come on. All right, I'm ready now.
Hey, Ashley, what are you up to?
I just I just stopped by to pick up my sage fruit apples. Now I just have to decide which ones.
Yeah, okay.
This is what it looks like when you do it.
Ta-da!
Take a deep breath, count to 5. It's like running across a rhythm section at a motocross track.
Mine was perfect.
Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit. Continuing on here. So glad you've joined us. And Ashley, I am so glad we had the opportunity to hang out a little bit with Donny Schatz, a great driver on the track, but just a great person off the track. And you especially see that when talking and listening to him talk about his family.
Yeah, I think Donny is so misunderstood. I think race fans just see the exterior, and he's so focused and he's so driven when he gets to the racetrack. And there's a whole nother side of Donny that we don't always get to see, but we've been fortunate enough to see that just with becoming friends with him through the show and what he does for sprint car racing and how much it means to him, and the passion that he has with his family and the business back home even is absolutely incredible. He
is all in with everything he does. And I respect that. I really do. It's just, he's a focused race car driver, but he's focused on just everything, whether it's the family or whether it's the business or all of his ventures. Really neat. And I love when we get a chance to talk here on Wing Nation about the off-track stuff, because I think that really comes through, particularly talking about his nieces. He really enjoys watching those nieces and participating where he can with their go-kart racing. And Ashley, I know the countdown is on for you. It's almost fair food time.
Yes, we actually had the Center Hall Fair this week, so it's a double week for me. I'm excited. I'm a huge fair lover, so Juniata County Fair is right around the corner.
Well, there we go. The Juniata County Fair, that means big races coming up at Port Royal, and we'll talk about those as we move forward on Wing Nation. Thanks again to Donny Schatz for joining us here on the program. But more important than all of that, thank you for joining us here on Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit.